of what is establishable. And at the end of the day, where it all falls apart is that humans have billions and billions of different ways of interpreting information. We have billions and billions of different ways of being trained or raised in this world, and therefore humans, by our very notion of the way we experience things, we're not scientific, we're not 100% repeatable. And I think it's an old saying that two leaves on a branch, even if they've grown up their entire lives right next to each other and arguably very, very close to each other in position, they have different viewpoints. They've got, they're certainly not in the same world. They don't perceive things the same way. Arguably, trees don't necessarily perceive things. And I wish I was a bit more verbatim when I try to quote these great, hopefully profound statements that others have used. Maybe they had an effect on me, and maybe I sort of ran with it and didn't digest it enough. Otherwise, I would be able to share in turn verbatim or with the same meaning. But look, for today, I'm the one who set up the argument and tried to introduce some concepts. So maybe I should get to the end and conclude that we've got this notion that we are part of a greater sea of energy, and the actions that we do, whether by making items that are built for the long term and maybe modular, therefore aspects of them can be replaced and upserviced, upkept. At the moment, we don't really work that way in the world. And look, for it is true, if we don't make things modular and we don't make things serviceable, items can be made a little bit smaller. But this notion that we've all got TVs that are a millimetre thick, and next year it'll be half a millimetre thick, and the year after that, it'll be a quantum thing that you maybe you can't even see it unless you're looking at it and it's active and just light in the air switches or something. Who knows? We're making breakthroughs in areas that just aren't needed for a competitive war that nobody needs. And look, if the upshot is increasing specifications that just don't matter, because that's become where the war is currently, because consumers are looking specifically at these things. As a human race, we need to take a step back. We need to stop looking at certain things as if they're isolated. We need to look at the greater whole, and we need to operate with, arguably, I'd say morals, but certainly with standards and actions that are going to prop us up. And that does mean a longer term play. It does mean possibly, and with the exception of watches and phones that might benefit from being made smaller, most other things can be made just that little bit chunkier, which, if you come from the world I come from, usually meant it was built better and it was built to last. And that chunkier generally would do all sorts of things that would benefit it. And look, I'm all for lighter. If a lighter vehicle, it consumes less petrol, consumes less energy to get it moving. But we need to change the way that we operate. And at the moment, for anyone who's operating in the world where they feel that it's okay for them to be associated with an aspect of business or an aspect of government that is ultimately very fallible and very taking in the long run, but in the short term, it's going to serve the interests of very, very select few, this just doesn't work. And it doesn't work at an energy level with the universe. And what we find is that energy is going to repeat, and it's going to come back and it's going to bite us in other ways. And it's going to keep playing out. And we just need to dance to the beat of a different drum. And it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And, maybe I'm sounding a bit hippie here. Really not trying to. We just need to operate in a way that we're going to go on and we're going to succeed and we're going to continue. And we need to invest energy in ways that set us up and prop us up to continue, and we need to invest energy in ways that's long term. And I think, as much as this message could have been made short, possibly 3 minutes, that's the crux of it, is that we just need to operate in a different way, and we need to take this responsibility that our actions do affect the greater whole. And even if we can't see them, it's a repeating pattern. And if you practice anything, you get better at it. So if you practice being less human and being more manipulative and more, and you convince yourself that you're only going to do this behaviour for a short term, and then you're going to go about being happier or something, and you're going to change it. That's not really the case. And anything you practice, you're going to get better at. And the energy, suggests if these repeating energy fields, and it is all just a beautiful fractal, and we all just part of sewn into this great weave that is the eternal blanket. We're all part of the greater whole. Then we need to take personal responsibility, and we need to, a lot of us probably need to change our course. I mean, all of us need to refine ourselves, definitely. And if we prop ourselves up in a society where that is being nurtured, and that everybody can understand this language of this greater concept of everything's now done for the long term. There's no stigma associated with sounding like the person that wants to spend more money up front to do things right than to take the shortcut that might, and it comes down to delaying gratification. Sometimes that short-term gain is not the win that we need it to be, and we just need to make long-term plays that play out better for us. Anyway, I do say thank you for your time. I guess as volumes go, this one is one that should easily be lost, and possibly just written down as a couple of paragraphs of text, and possibly skim through that way. That being the case, I do say thank you again for your time, for being here with me today. Anyone that chooses to follow this channel is obviously trying to get little bits of information about how the greater whole is formed of the smaller building blocks, and so quite often it's all about me introducing the building blocks. So I think this video is quite ancillary to the rest of the channel, but I do, again, always say well wishes with.